The first thing that Victor does in episode 10 is he drops that letter off in Benji's locker. He then runs into Felix, who says, "You don't look like a guy who just told his girlfriend that he's gay." And that's because Victor didn't. Victor explains what happened the previous night and why he didn't tell Mia. So Victor's decided that he just wants to give Mia one last great night at the dance, and then he'll tell her. He asks Felix, "Did you ask Lake to the dance?" And Felix explains how he ended things. And then both Lake and Mia awkwardly walk up to the two of them. And as they're awkwardly standing there, this girl named Wendy walks up to Felix right in front of Lake and says, "Would you like to go to the dance with me?" And Felix would love to. And after Wendy leaves, Felix looks at Lake and says, "Can you believe somebody actually wants to be seen in public with me?" And Lake, not wanting to be outdone, says, "Well, just to let you know, I have a date too." But she actually doesn't have a date. And Wendy coming up to Felix kind of made her jealous. So she decided to force this jock named Kieran to go with her, the exact opposite of Felix. Now, Mia obviously has a date, and that's with Victor. She heads home after school and finds her dad there, and her dad's really excited because this is Mia's first formal. And Veronica is also really excited because she's brought over some of her jewelry to lend to Mia, but Mia doesn't have a lot of interest in that. She tells Veronica, "You don't really have to do this. I want you and my dad to be happy, but me and you don't have this relationship where I'm going to borrow your jewelry." Completely shutting Veronica down again. And Veronica's not the only one getting the cold shoulder, because Victor, who is getting ready for the school dance, tells Pilar the big family secret that her dad punched Roger, and Pilar says, "Well, I'm not really shocked. This family is full of liars," stares at him and walks away. And of course, Victor has no idea why she's being like this to him. But he doesn't really think much of it, and everybody comes over to Victor's place. They're all taking pictures, and Felix is really hitting it off with Wendy, and that is bugging Lake. So to try to make Felix feel jealous, she starts playing it off like she's also hitting it off with Kieran, even though it's clearly not real. And Felix can see right through it. The group then ends the pictures, and Victor is able to head off to the dance feeling pretty good because his parents seem to be in a better place. They tell him that after Victor reamed them out, they had a nice long talk, and seems like they got some stuff hashed out. So the group heads to the school dance, and as soon as they get in there, Lake pulls Mia aside because she needs a break from Kieran. She won't show it to Felix, but he is driving her nuts. So as the two girls head off to the bathroom, it's just Victor and Felix there, and also Benji. From a distance. He is there with Derek, and both him and Victor make eye contact. Victor then, not knowing really what to do, heads into the men's room, and Benji follows him in there. And Benji tells him, "I read your letter, and I forgive you. But that doesn't change anything. I have a boyfriend, and you kissed me, so I kind of have to stay away from you." And while Victor's sad, he understands, and Benji walks out. But Benji and Victor weren't the only ones in the bathroom, because unbeknownst to the both of them, Andrew was in one of the stalls. And when Andrew walks out, it puts the fear of God into Victor. But Andrew doesn't say anything. He just washes his hands and walks out. And Victor chases after Andrew out of the bathroom and says, "I can explain," but they too get cut off by Mia, who finds Victor. And it interrupts any explanation. So everybody goes on the dance floor, everybody's having fun, and that includes Felix and Wendy. And Wendy's trying to talk to Felix, but he is transfixed on Lake. And Wendy can sense this, so she goes to get a drink, leaving Felix by himself, and that opens the door for Pilar to come talk to him. She wants to know who the hell this B is, and she confronts him about if he knows that Victor cheated on Mia. And Felix isn't doing a good job of hiding it, and Pilar reminds Felix, "You're Mia's friend too, so if Victor is sneaking around her back, you kind of owe it to her to let her know." And Felix, cracking under the pressure, says he's not sneaking around. It was a one-time thing on a work trip, and he's handling it. And with that line, Felix messed up, because he just gave Pilar the information that B is somebody that Victor works with. So, to get some more answers, Pilar goes to the one person at the dance who works with Victor, Benji. She asks Benji if he works with any girls, and Benji says, "No, not really. I mean, there's Sarah, but she's more of an angry woman." So Pilar asks, "Well, did Victor and Sarah ever go on a work trip?" And Benji says, "No, I don't think so." But Benji, sensing the issue, says, "Yeah, we're going to head out." Derek, however, is curious of why Pilar is asking him all these questions. And Pilar says something happened on that trip, and then walks off. And Derek then turns to Benji and says, "Didn't you and Victor go on a work trip together?" And that leads to a very awkward conversation. And Felix, trying to be a good friend, goes up to Victor and lets him know that Pilar found his note. And now it makes a lot more sense of why she's been so cold to him. Felix also lets him know that he might have accidentally let it slip that it happened on a work trip. And Victor looks over to see Benji and Derek fighting, and now he knows the shit has truly hit the fan. So he goes over to talk to Benji, but he catches Andrew walking over to Mia and grabs him instead, saying, "We need to talk." Victor tells him, "I don't know what you heard, but it's not what it seems." Or it kind of is what it seems. He starts kind of explaining himself to Andrew, but Andrew's concern is that Mia is getting hurt in all of this. And Victor's big concern is that Andrew, who's been a jerk in the past, is going to tell the whole school. But Andrew says, "I'm not going to do that. My issue with you is that Mia cares about you. This isn't fair to her." And Victor promises that he's going to tell her. She's just been having a tough time at home, and he wants to give her one last good night. They then get interrupted by Benji and Derek, who are walking out and arguing. And Benji clearly came clean on what happened in that work trip. So Andrew sees himself out, and Derek, who is trying to walk away, gets stopped by Victor, who explains, look man, it wasn't his fault. I kissed him and he pulled back. And not only did he push back on it, he switched coffee shops to get away from me. That's how much he cares about you and the relationship. He's a great guy. He's thoughtful, he's sweet, and he cares about you. You guys are great together, so please, don't let my stupid kiss mess up what you have. Victor then promises to stay out of both of their ways, and he walks away. Now, while that conversation was going on in the hallway back at the dance, Felix and Lake have found their way to the punch bowl, and Felix tells Lake that he's glad that she's happy, and if Kieran is what makes her happy, then he's happy for her. And Lake doesn't say anything, she just walks away. But then Mia comes up to Felix because she's looking for Victor, although Felix says, I don't know where he went. And that's because Victor is outside talking to Benji. Benji lets him know that the relationship between him and Derek is over. And at first, Victor feels really bad, but Benji says, no, don't feel bad. I'm the one who ended it. He explains how things between him and Derek have just been off for a while. Derek just made him feel bad a lot of the time, and Victor was the exact opposite. The two then end up hooking up, but they stop and Benji asks, what are you going to do about Mia? And Victor says, I'm planning on telling her tomorrow. Benji says, Victor, I want this as much as you do, but I've been out for a while now. Have you even said the words out loud yet? I'm gay? And Victor promises, yeah, I'm going to. I'm ready. But here's a lesson to everybody. If you want to hook up with your gay crush, don't do it directly outside of the entrance to the school dance that your girlfriend is currently attending. Because Mia walks out and catches her boyfriend making out with a guy. And that kind of ruined the night for her. But of course, Victor is none the wiser. And while Mia was catching her boyfriend cheating in the act, back inside, the two were being named King and Queen of the Spring Fling. Although Victor isn't there and Mia is in no mood to go accept the Olive Garden gift card, which is understandable because, there's better options out there. But Mia's being comforted by Andrew, and when Victor walks back inside, he sees that and knows that something went wrong. But even after they call Victor and Mia back up to the stage, they still don't go. And Lake figures this is a really good time to make her move. She gets up in front of the whole school and says, I'm standing in Mia's place because she's disappeared. And I want to invite Felix up to stand in place of Victor. Because he told me that he just wants me to be happy. And the truth is, that little nerd makes me happy. So, Felix, please join me for the King and Queen's dance. The only issue is Felix has a date, Wendy. And even though Wendy and Felix have been hitting it off the entire night, Wendy seems to be cool with it. She says it's kind of obvious you're obsessed with her, so go, be with her. You gotta feel for Wendy in this situation. But with her blessing, Felix gets up there and kisses Lake in front of the entire school. Although both Lake and Felix's best friends have stormed out of the dance. Mia, with Andrew, who is consoling her, and Victor, who is chasing after the two, trying to explain his side. Victor says, I don't know what Andrew told you, and Mia cuts him off saying, he didn't tell me anything, I saw you two. She asks Victor, all this time, was any of it real? And he says, yeah, you're like my favorite person, but Mia's heard it enough and just says, goodbye, Victor, and walks off with Andrew. And as Mia and Andrew are walking off, Pilar comes from behind Victor and says, she found out, didn't she, that you were cheating on her? And Victor says, it's not what you think, but Pilar says, I don't believe you. Pilar feels so betrayed of what her parents did, but all the while she said, at least I have Victor. And now Victor, in her eyes, is doing the same thing that her mom did. So she's not really in the mood to hear his side of things. Now, Andrew ended up walking Mia all the way home, as Mia is beating herself up over not seeing Victor for what he truly was earlier. And Andrew is comforting her, and Mia invites him in. But Andrew says, no, I don't think so. I don't want to really be your rebound. I want to be, well, you know. He then kisses her on the cheek and tells her goodnight. Mia walks in, and the first person she sees is Veronica, and immediately Veronica can sense that something's wrong with Mia. And she gives Veronica a big hug and cries on her shoulder. And Mia's dad walks in and sees what's going on, but he doesn't say anything. He just lets the moment sit. Now, Victor and Pilar also walked home from the school dance, and when they get home, the first thing that Victor says is, I have something to tell you guys. But his parents say, well, we have something to tell you guys as well. They spent the entire night having wine and talking about their relationship, and they've come to an agreement, probably best they separate. They give the typical, we still care about each other, but they just need some time apart. And this really upsets the kids, obviously, and Victor gets up and tries to leave, and his mom says, well, what did you want to tell us? And he says nothing. But then he thinks about it, and just like with his grandparents earlier, he comes back and says, no, you know what, I do have something to tell you guys. I'm gay. And that is how Season 1 of Love, Victor ends. Thank you so much for reaching this point of the recap. I would ask you guys to kindly subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you liked it. Hit thumbs down if you didn't. If you know somebody that needs a recap of Love, Victor Season 1, please consider sharing this on your social media platforms. If you write a nice comment in the comment section and I don't reply, don't take it personally. I just try to stay away from the comment sections because most of the time, they're kind of nasty. But once again, I really appreciate you guys checking this video out. And also, if you want to hear my thoughts on things, check out my podcast, Scene Invaders, wherever you listen to podcasts.